Well, I always challenge people to play one of my so-called explicit songs up against an explicit song of today. I mean, if you take some of the music off these songs of today, you've got straight pornography. And one thing I always tried to keep was sensuality in my music. It was never done in a spirit of misogyny or meanness. Well, it seems to be the age-old problem of prejudice and misunderstanding between so-called races. I mean, I wrote a song once about a large ball, black on one side, white on the other, and if you have a person about this big only seeing that one side, that's the way they think the world is. And unfortunately, in war, there's children dying on both sides. Well, I think music, not only should it be entertaining, but it should try to uplift you in some form or fashion. I mean, I think that's the purpose of music. It's to make light of a otherwise dire situation. You know, you take music out of the world, it's going to be pretty dark. It depends on what it is they're trying to achieve. If you talk to a lot of kids now, they're programmed by the star-making machinery like American Idol and MTV and things like that. So if they're into that, then the music industry is cool. If they're looking to have five albums plus career, then wow, I would advise starting a new industry and staying free and not signing any long-term restrictive contracts, because in the end you end up owning nothing.
No, I understand why I wrote it at the time. I don't have regrets like that when it comes to music. As you grow and as you evolve, you learn more about yourself, you learn more about the people around you, you start to see yourself as part of the whole universe, and all that changes. So I think I've done the best that I could at what I had to work with at the time.
As I remember that, and we were in love then, we should be in love now. It's a hurtful place, the world in and of itself. We don't need to add to it. And we're in a place now where we all need one another. And it's going to get rougher. We don't believe in free goods. We don't believe in, 90% of the contract the way it's written now, the standard contract. We don't believe in 360 deals. Anybody that signs one of those are absolutely crazy.
I use Stevie Wonder as an inspiration, whom I look up to a great deal, just for the way that he crafted music and his connection to the spirit.
Three, two, one.
Synthesizers often have an association with gloss and plastique, but the thumping riffs that open Dirty Mind sound like they were recorded in a grimy garage, and they pervade the entirety of the album. Just listen to how rough they are on Uptown. They sound closer to the Stranglers than they do to Purple Rain. You so rarely get to hear electronic music handle this roughly or use the punctuation, such luscious themes as incest and oral sex. 1980s Dirty Mind was Prince's essence, a declaration where he revealed himself to us and he hinted at who he would become. Prince had shyly exposed himself with I Wanna Be Your Lover from 1979, the self-titled album where he sang, I wanna be the only one that makes you come running. He had creative control of his first two records, but they were overseen by the record company and management representatives. Prince recorded Dirty Mind in isolation in 1980, in a rented house on Lake Minnetonka, and practically lived in his ramshackle basement studio with a tape machine held together with baling wire and patches, the drum booth underwater. Dirty Mind was self-produced, self-contained, nearly every song written and performed by Prince, made with what recording engineer Don Batts called Prince's one-take magic. Prince explained, "This album was all supposed to be demo tapes. That's what they started out to be. So there were demos, and I brought them out to the coast and played them for the management and the record company. They said, the sound of it is fine. The songs we ain't so sure about, we can't get this on the radio. It's not like your last album at all." And I'm going, Prince said, "But it's like me." He insisted he wasn't deliberately being provocative. He was deliberately being himself. The Dirty Mind album was the first time I ever saw Prince personally. When I saw it, I was struck by a wall of bed springs behind him. He was wearing nothing but a flasher's trench coat, a bandana, and black bikini briefs. This is how Prince offered himself to us on the cover of Dirty Mind. Many were scandalized by the image, and some record store owners refused to put the album on their shelves. Yeah, the critics had a field day. One prudishly tried to describe it as, maybe it's meant to be sexy. The back cover gets better or worse. Prince is lying down with the same outfit. However, this time you get a look at his legs. And what is he wearing? A pair of thigh-high stockings. The effect is one of a nude man dressed in a pair of thigh-high stockings. Another critic said, in response to the album, it's more flattering and correct, and that Mick Jagger should fold up his penis and go home. Whatever that means. But Dirty Mind transcended smut. It was more than a penthouse letter. The album conveyed Prince's complexity. He made himself vulnerable in his expressions of desire, following a track like Do It All Night with Got a Broken Heart Again. He was also a pacifist. Party Up was his anti-war song, and his politics were simple. Really, that song is just about people who would rather have a good time than go and shoot up one another. I think we would need some of that in these times. Prince thanks God in the liner notes of Dirty Mind, which some found incongruous for an album claiming that incest is everything it's said to be, on a song like Sister, and includes an homage to Head. But from what I heard, the song Sister is actually a dedication to the love for his older sister, who he actually really enamored. Prince went on to explain, there has always been a dichotomy in my music. I'm searching for a higher plane, but I want the most of being on earth. When you have faith, the serotonin starts pumping in your brain. It's the same as when you have an orgasm. Sex is spirituality. Flesh on flesh, it's the highest form of spirituality here on earth. I know Dirty Mind isn't a punk album, but it feels like one. It can get the pulse going the same way as any raw punk album. It's fast and to the point, barely surpassing the 30-minute mark, leaving everyone thrilled than any other LP in Prince's discography. Former Prince's sound engineer Susan Rogers described him the best. I sensed from him a very strong feminine energy, as well as a very strong masculine energy. It was almost like working with a man and a woman. As sexual as Prince was, he loved women, and as human beings, not as objects. His pleasure depended on their pleasure, and his music spoke to me in a way other men hadn't. With that being said, thank you for watching. You've been watching 80s punk masterpiece.
I get dirty thoughts about you.
Prince.
They get worse when I'm without you. Does that mean that I'm going?
Hope you truly enjoyed.
Or are you thinking them as
My name is Gary Harrison,
when I'm lonely?
and I'll catch you on the next one.
The corners of my mind start racing. Things that should be kept in the basement. Spend my time trying to erase them. But when you hold me in the fantasy, it's so convincing. I shouldn't think the things I'm thinking, but now I've gone and let them sink in. The more that I push them away, the more that you're stuck in my brain, the more I mentally undress.